Here goes a video right here. The president's daily brief. I like this guy. Think he's got some good commentary. He reads off what the president's daily brief is every single morning. Let's move this. Let's go. Let's see what's going on.
Whoa. What's that?
And of
I
course,
installed
an
the
app.
budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
President Trump is once again dialing up the pressure on Iran, ordering according to sources that spoke with Axios and the Associated Press. The Ford is not just another carrier. It's the largest and most advanced aircraft carrier ever built, a nuclear-powered vessel capable of launching dozens of aircraft in rapid succession while sustaining high-tempo operations for extended periods. Its arrival would place two U.S. carrier strike groups, the USS Abraham Lincoln and the Ford, within operational reach of Iran. Its deployment shifts the scale of America's posture in the region, sending a clear message to the mullahs that the U.S. is ready to use the full might of America's naval power should the regime fail to engage in meaningful negotiations. According to Axios, the Ford is expected to take roughly 3 to 4 weeks to arrive in the region as it travels from the Caribbean.
And basically, the deal that they want is no nuclear enrichment, downsizing of their missile arsenal, something else, something about the regime, maybe a whole entire regime change, which the Ayatollah, the supreme leader of Iran, he'll never go for.
Where it's being used and has been used in the pressure campaign against Venezuela. That aligns with the timeline that President Trump referenced on Thursday, when he said he hopes to finalize a nuclear agreement with Iran within the next month, but would shift course if no deal is reached. Now, the White House has not explicitly framed the deployment as a precursor to military action, but officials have made clear the move is intended to increase pressure on leaders in Tehran as negotiations continue, or sort of continue. Trump himself drove that point home on Thursday, telling reporters that while he's optimistic that Iran will agree to U.S. nuclear demands, if they don't, the consequences will be, quote, very traumatic. On that score, as we've been tracking here on the PDB, negotiations between the U.S. and Iran remain alive, although it seems more like life support, at least for now. But initial talks in Oman last week yielded little progress. The mullahs claim they want to find a diplomatic off-ramp. Of course they do. But what they've offered so far is extremely limited in scope. The regime says it is willing to dilute its stockpile of highly enriched uranium somewhat, but only in exchange for full sanctions relief and without addressing their ballistic missile program or regional proxies. Trump, meanwhile, has said that any successful agreement would need to address both nuclear weapons and missiles. This position aligns more closely with what Israel would like to see covered in the negotiations.
Keep in mind, nuclear enrichment encompasses medical equipment as well. Like, a nation ought to have the right to make their own medical equipment. Like,
as we discussed earlier this week, Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House on Wednesday, with Netanyahu pressing for a tougher American stance on Iran's missile program. That meeting ended without a final decision on Iran, with Trump reaffirming afterwards that diplomacy remains active for now. But the gulf between Washington and Tehran remains wide, which is why it's not much of a surprise that Trump followed through on his threat from earlier this week and moved to redeploy the USS Gerald R. Ford to the Middle East. U.S. forces have already surged Patriot missile defense systems, expanded aerial refueling assets, and increased strike and electronic warfare aircraft across multiple regional bases. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is obviously already operating in the broader region, giving Washington a significant naval presence within range of Iran.
Silly goose.
By moving the Ford into the Middle Eastern theater, Washington is significantly raising the stakes. Two carrier groups operating simultaneously bring overwhelming strike power and far greater operational endurance, allowing the Navy to essentially sustain round-the-clock operations and project force without relying solely on land bases. All right, coming up next, as Xi Jinping cleans house inside China's military, The CIA is publicly inviting insiders to defect.
I didn't know that we were going to talk about China. We'll go ahead and watch that as well. But if Donald Trump attacks Iran, the Iranian government already said they will attack American targets and they'll attack Israel as well. And you got to keep in mind though that there's tens of thousands of American troops in the Middle East right now. It's like it almost seems like their lives are up for gamble right now. I don't understand the point of gambling with our people's lives. That makes no sense to me.
Never let an opportunity go to waste. I'll be right back. Hey, Mike Baker here. It declines, and the truth is, we all start producing less collagen once we get past our 20s. Yes, bubsnaturals.com. Their latch-lock suitcases close like a safe with a your entire order. That's Noble, N-O-B-L, right? Noble.
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready
And
to.
of course, another ad.
China, and a development that suggests Washington believes Beijing's recent internal turmoil may present an intelligence opportunity. The CIA has launched a new public campaign aimed at recruiting informants within China's military, releasing a carefully produced video that targets disaffected mid-level officers inside the People's Liberation Army, the PLA. That's according to a report from Reuters. The video, released in Mandarin, portrays a fictional Chinese military officer grappling with corruption and mistrust inside the system, themes that clearly mirror Beijing's recent purge of top military figures. In one scene, the fictional officer says, quote, "Anyone with leadership qualities is bound to be subject to suspicion and ruthlessly eliminated," end quote. It's a line meant to capitalize on current anxieties within the PLA. The character goes on to describe his superior's power as being, quote, "built on countless lies." The CIA also included instructions on how officials could securely contact U.S. intelligence. Well, that's very thoughtful. And this isn't the agency's first move of this kind. It's part of a broader effort to expand human intel collection on Washington's chief strategic rival. Reuters notes that the latest video follows a similar effort from last May, when the CIA released recruitment content aimed at officials within China's Communist Party. That video also provided step-by-step guidance in Mandarin on how to establish secure communications with U.S. intelligence. Regarding their broader campaign, CIA officials say they're confident that the content is penetrating China's, quote, "great firewall," internet restrictions, and reaching its intended audience. In fact, CIA Director John Ratcliffe said the agency believes its outreach efforts have already drawn significant engagement and described the effort as offering Chinese officials, quote, "an opportunity to work toward a brighter future together." And as I mentioned, the push comes at a time when the Chinese military does look oddly vulnerable. As we reported last week, President Xi Jinping's sweeping purge of China's top general, as well as multiple lawmakers and defense industry figures, has exposed
So it
deep
just wasn't one
instability
person.
within the military establishment. Analysts have long warned that corruption inside China's military-industrial complex could undermine Xi's modernization goals, and it appears U.S. intelligence is moving swiftly to exploit the current discord. For some background, the CIA is still working to rebuild its human intelligence network inside China after Beijing dismantled much of it between 2010 and 2012, when numerous U.S. sources were killed or imprisoned. At the same time, American officials say China's own spy agencies continue to work aggressively to recruit current and former U.S. personnel. These high-stakes intelligence battles are, of course, unfolding against the backdrop of a widening military and technological rivalry between Washington and Beijing. By rolling out this recruitment campaign now, the CIA is looking to take advantage of the apparent internal turmoil, betting that the mistrust and paranoia and anger that Xi's moves create could likewise create disaffected military personnel, possibly with an axe to grind. And that, my friends, is the PDB Afternoon Bulletin for Friday, the 13th of February. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv. And when you go to joindeleteme.com.
Okay, it's more ads. I guess that's going to be the end of this video right here. Yeah, so it looks like we might. The lights are kind of there might be a war happening with Iran pretty soon. And there's going to be a lot of American blood spilled. That much is, that much I think everybody can be sure of. You guys get inside the comments below. Let me think about this. See you on the next one.